despite it being 70 times more likely that someone dies by jumping from the bridge than being killed by a head-on collision from somebody coming from the opposite side, right? But yet the toll money was given to build this median. 70 times more likely for somebody to jump off and die than be hit by a head-on collision. Now, I'm not trying to make a political statement or speak ill of the good people of San Francisco here, all right? This is just a prime example of how we view suicide and suicide prevention in our society, all right? Remember, addicts are more likely to die by suicide than cancer, heart disease, homicide, or an accident. More people die by suicide than homicide, yet suicide and suicide prevention go underfunded and are often ignored. We don't talk about it, right? Why? So, opponents of this suicide barrier state that if a person wants to die, you cannot stop them. They'll just go somewhere else to try to kill themselves. Opponents argue, why commit millions of taxpayer dollars on a project that is an eyesore if people are just going to die anyways? And the argument that barriers to suicide do not work don't have credence, and this is why. There's a gentleman named Dr. Seiden. He did a classic research study where he followed up with both people who jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge and survived, and those who were stopped by force from jumping off the bridge, all right? His follow-up interviews took place 26 years after this potentially very lethal suicide attempt happened, all right? After 26 years, Dr. Seiden found that 90% of the individuals were still alive, and another 4% died of some sort of natural cause, so they did not die by suicide or any violent means. Remember, the people that he's following up with 26 years later are the people who were not talking about it, all right? They were gonna do it, all right? And they were using a knowingly very lethal method. Now, 6% did die by suicide or other violent means. The 6% that did die, about 1/3 or 2% died within a 6-month period of their initial suicide attempt from the bridge. These deaths were highly correlated to response. Those who died tend to be released from jail with no interventions, or they were held up to 72 hours in their local mental health institution, and they had no addiction or mental health treatment follow-up afterwards. Had there been more support for these folks, there's a good chance that they would have still been alive at that 26-year mark. Suicide is both preventable and often temporary phenomenon, and those who attempt would benefit from both lethal means restriction and follow-up treatment. Any questions?